The latest trend graphics reports for the city of Fremont are out, and in today's video, I'm going to be covering the latest housing market updates for the city of Fremont in this Bay Area Housing Market Minute. The Bay Area housing market is on absolute fire. This is not front page news anymore. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering the city of Fremont for all of you buyers and sellers out there that are looking to buy or sell in the city of Fremont. But before we get into the data, before we get into the video, if you're a home buyer in today's marketplace and you're looking for a comprehensive data set to assist you with your home buying decision making, you can text the word data plus the zip code or the area or the neighborhood that you're looking in, and we will get that data sent straight to your inbox. And if you're a home seller in today's marketplace and you're looking for a data set that's going to help you decide, well, it's now a good time to sell my home. Is it the right time to sell, or should I wait until the spring? And what should I price my property at? What is the right pricing strategy? All of that and more in the data set when you text the word data plus your property address to the number down below, and we'll get that sent straight to your inbox. All right, let's dive into the data right now. Again, this is a live analysis. I have not seen this data at all, so I'm gonna be dissecting it and going over it in real time. And okay. All right, well, this is pretty much in line with what I've seen in other areas up until this point. Couple of observations here. The light green line for all of you at home that are viewing along with me, that is representative of active inventory right now in the city of Fremont. And so as you can see, since the summer months, we've seen inventory levels slowly start to decrease. And if we look at the pending sales, well, pending sales have also started to slowly decrease, except for this last month, we had a slight uptick, maybe two homes at two increased homes. So really a steady pending market, steady buyer demand over the last few months, while inventory levels have continued to drop. So what does this mean for buyers? Well, first of all, it's hot. It's a really, really white hot market for buyers. This should not be a surprise to anyone who's making offers currently in Fremont. The one thing that is fascinating here is how inventory levels have continued to drop off fairly consistently month over month over month. And so what I've noticed in some of these areas, including Fremont, is one thing that could be happening right now is we're experiencing perhaps winter slightly earlier this year, but it's really too early to tell whether these winter conditions are going to end earlier, whether we'll see like an uptick in inventory starting January while we normally see it in February or March timeframe, or if we are just going to see a longer winter period, which is actually what most of my colleagues, what most of the people that I really trust in this industry actually think is going to happen. They believe that inventory levels are going to become suppressed for the next 6 months. Instead of normally like a 4-month period during the winter, 3 to 4 month period, it's going to be more like a 6-month period from like October all the way through like April or May. Now, of course, that's just conjecture, but it is something to keep and pay attention to. Another thing that I want all of you, especially anyone who's considering buying a home, that perhaps has been on the fence and they're thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just going to wait until the springtime and there's more homes to choose from. And, maybe I'm just going to wait until then because maybe hopefully, the market goes down. Well, let's look at the data because I have a funny feeling it's not going to be good. So let's look at what happened in Fremont last October. We had 118 homes active on the market then in October. Flash forward 6 months to April. We had 111 homes, so relatively equal amount of inventory levels. By the way, in some other areas in the Bay Area, we see inventory levels drop off significantly. So that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing if you're a home buyer. But here's where it gets tricky for you. So if we're looking at October, we're looking at 125 homes pending versus in April, 170 homes pending. So while inventory levels historically remain the same in Fremont from the fall up until the springtime, we are seeing a, practically, what is that? Like a 30% jump in pending sales, meaning demand goes up significantly during the spring months while there's really not that much more inventory to choose from. So if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the market to do something, the only thing it's going to do based on history is go up. Because when there's more buyers in the marketplace, when there's more demand, that's going to cause upward pressure. That's going to put upward pressure on prices. And so home sellers On the other hand, if you're like sitting on the sideline and you're thinking, well, is now the right time to sell? Is it okay if I wait until after the holiday season? Based on what we're seeing here, it's your hard-earned equity is safe right now. Don't see anything changing between now and the early part of the spring, just based on A, data, and number two, market conditions. A, data, number two, market conditions. Yeah, all over the place. So anyways, let's move on. What I wanted to look at too is list price to sales price ratio, fairly consistent. And, you know, in Fremont, this isn't like surprising to see 108% list price to sales price ratio. It just, I mean, the crazy thing is that it means for any home that's listed at 2 million, it's selling for 2.16. And that's, I mean, that's practically $200,000 over asking. And that's, I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy. And where else does that happen consistently month over month over month, except for the Bay Area? The last thing I wanted to look at here was the absorption rate. So it's a seller's market. That's not new. That's not new news, but we're looking at the absorption rate here in October, 171% absorption rate. When we think about the amount of equity that's been pumped into the Fremont market since the beginning of the year, there are a few cities in the area where I truly believe they are so protected now by the equity that's been built that when this wave ends, when this equity wave kind of it hits its peak and we see a little bit of a dip, could be in 12 months, could be in 6 months, could be in 12 months, could be in 24 months. But whenever it happens, whoever bought at the beginning of this year, like Q1, there's been so much equity built since then that I do not see a scenario in which the market will ever dip below what someone paid for at the beginning of 2021. And so, and by the way, if this wave continues for another year, the same will be true for anyone who buys today. And so that is really the message that I wanted to leave everyone with is it might seem bad right now. Let me tell you something. In the 80s, it also seemed really bad. You know, I talked to agents who I have the privilege really of talking to very experienced realtors who were selling homes in the 80s, who were selling homes in the 90s. And let me tell you, the same mentality that buyers have today, they had in 1980, where they're like, there is no way that the housing prices are ever going to go above 200,000, you know, at the time, or 150 or whatever they were. And now, you know, 30 years later, we're looking back at those prices and like, oh my God, if I'd only bought 10 of those, I would be so set right now. And or even if I only bought 2 of those, I'd be so set right now. Same thing applies today. It's not about the now, because in the moment, it's always going to seem expensive. It's about knowing what that investment is going to do for you in the long term. And this data is very demonstrative of that fact. And so that's what I wanted to leave all of you with today. If you are still watching this video right now, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It would really help me out. It really helps this channel out. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can do cool things for everyone a part of this community. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And especially if you want more data videos, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. Anyways, guys, this is Danny Gould. Thanks again for watching. I'm selling Silicon Valley, and I will catch all of you in the next video.